right in the middle of a loneliness epidemic comes social distancing. This is a bad combination. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. Last month, we were all introduced to a new concept, social distancing, urged, even required in places to maintain physical distance and reduce close contact with other people. Our collective goal, to slow the spread of COVID-19 and keep it from overwhelming our healthcare system. There's a very real problem with this strategy, however. While social distancing might be the best way to fight the coronavirus, it may very well exacerbate an already existing epidemic, loneliness. As former Surgeon General Vivek Murthy put it, we live in the most technologically connected age in the history of civilization, and yet rates of loneliness have doubled since the 1980s. The health impact of the loneliness epidemic is incredible. According to Murthy, the impact of social isolation and loneliness on longevity equals smoking 15 cigarettes a day and exceeds the risk associated with obesity, excessive alcohol consumption, and lack of exercise. A recent report from the National Academy of Science found social isolation has been linked to a 50% increased risk of dementia, a 29% increased risk of heart disease, and a 32% increased risk of stroke. To put it plainly, loneliness can be just as lethal, maybe even more so than COVID-19, certainly in the long run. A group that should be at the front of our concerns when it comes to loneliness are the elderly. According to one study, some 18% of adults aged 65 and up in the U.S. live alone. 43% report feeling lonely on a regular basis. Still, the loneliness epidemic isn't limited to older Americans. A 2019 YouGov survey found 27% of millennials have no close friends, 25% have no acquaintances, 22% no buddies at all. In fact, Gen Z might be the loneliest generation on record. According to a 2018 Cigna survey, those born in 1995 or later report greater feelings of loneliness and worse health than any other generation. If social media was supposed to make up for this lack of actual human contact we face, as we're promised, the generation most at ease with social media certainly isn't showing it. Apparently, digital natives are lonelier than the baby boomers they love to turn into memes. And again, all of this was true before social distancing went into effect. So during the next few months, the face-to-face activities that build relationships and keep loneliness at bay will be difficult, in some cases impossible. Months ago, we decided at the Colson Center to host an online short course on how Christians can respond to our culture's brokenness. We had no idea at the time we'd be facing a global pandemic. So on Tuesday, we hosted a webinar with Ed Stetzer on how Christians can respond to the coronavirus. If you missed it, it's completely free. Come to breakpoint.org and you can get the recording. The short course starts next Tuesday, and in the first of 4 sessions, we deal with this other epidemic. Dr. Kathy Cook, president of Celebrate Kids, will talk about how Christians can respond to loneliness, isolation, and relational brokenness. In other words, our other pandemic. Cook has written extensively about how Christian parents can teach their kids who they really are and how to help them navigate the social norms that so often isolate them. So she's exactly the one to help us respond as Christians to this loneliness epidemic. Please join us next Tuesday, April the 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can come to breakpoint.org to register. The course will continue for the following 3 Thursdays. We'll confront other areas of brokenness too. Ricky Chalette, Executive Director of Living Hope Ministries, will talk about how Christians can respond to those who are sexually broken. Ben Mitchell, Professor of Philosophy at Union University, will talk about how Christians can help lead in end-of-life care. And then David Galvan, Director of Education for a Lifetime at the Life Network, will talk about how we can respond to mental health and addiction. All the short course sessions are recorded, so even if you have to miss a week, you will not miss a single presentation. Come to breakpoint.org to register today for our short course. That's breakpoint.org. For Breakpoint, I'm John Stonestreet.